Alright, so the first step in getting a kind of glowy foundation look to your skin, especially if you have oily skin, is to use a moisturizer or something like that. I want to use actually a face serum today. This is the Aloe and Hyaluronic Acid Face Serum. This is a brand from, I want to say Marshalls, a brand that Marshalls carries. It's called Mon Ami. It just comes in this little thing right here. And so I'll just take a little bit and then put that on my skin. So the primer that I've really been liking to use lately is the Milani Prime and Shield. It's a mattifying primer, but what I found is like it's not too mattifying. It's kind of just right, like it's mattifying just enough. And just put that right on top and really focus it on the areas that need it the most. Alright, and so because I put the face serum on before I put my primer on, I'm also going to set my parts of my face, but I'm just going to set the parts that get really oily. So I'm going to set underneath my eyes here, my chin, and then my forehead. Okay, so to set my face, I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Medium Deep. And I'm just going to take a beauty blender that's dry. I'm going to tap into the cap, and then what I'm going to do is tap off the excess powder on the back of my hand, and then just go right underneath, very like little. You don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to make sure that I smooth out all the powder instead of just packing on so much. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And then I'm going to take what's left and kind of pick that up and then put that on my forehead. Take a little bit more and put that on my chin. Alright. And so what I found that works best for me when I want to create more of a dewy, natural skin look is I want to use a foundation that is lightweight, but kind of medium coverage if I wanted it to be. So the foundation that I like to use is the Marc Jacobs Shameless Foundation in Tan Y480. So what I just do is take a little bit. I don't like use a ton of this. I just kind of put some in the areas of my face that I want to be lighter. I'm not going to put this all over my face. Put some on my chin. And so the next thing that I'm going to do is take a little bit of my Fenty Beauty foundation. This is in the color 420. This is like too dark for me actually. I need to go up a shade, but it's perfect for adding dimension to the face. So I'm going to add this in the areas of my face that I want to be darker, and that would just be the perimeter of my face. Add some here. Add a little around here. Alright, and so then I'm going to blend that out, and I'm going to use my Morphe Y6 brush. This is just a flat top kind of kabuki brush. And I've been loving using this lately rather than using a sponge, because I feel like the sponge, one, soaks up a lot of product, and two, it just takes up more time than using a brush, and I really, really like this brush. So I'm going to go in with the lighter areas of my face, or of the, where I put the foundation first. I don't like putting heavy amounts of foundation on my skin, because I just find that that makes me way more cakey, and it makes me look just a hot mess. Especially because the makeup starts to settle on my lines and stuff, and it's just not good. So now I want to go to the dark spots, or where I put the darker foundation. So a good concealer that I've actually was skeptical about trying, but I got this in the last month of my Ipsy bag. I canceled my Ipsy bag, but this was in my last month's. It's the medium dark Smashbox Studio Skin 24-hour waterproof concealer, and it looks hella light in the tube, but it's not as light as you would think. So I'm just gonna add some of this, and this is like a very liquidy consistency, so I don't like to put a lot because it's easy to spread it around, and to me that means, like, you know, I don't need a whole bunch, and because we're going for a natural finish, it's just not necessary. And put a little right here. Might just add a little bit more. So pretty much I use up one dip into this and call it a day. Okay, so for the concealer, I can either blend it out with my brush, or I also like to take a dry sponge. This is the Fenty Beauty sponge, and just kind of pounce that in. I like to do it dry just because I can, I don't know. But today I'm gonna use the brush. And as I'm blending it out, I'm kind of stamping and then blending at the same time. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, I'm kind of making little small patting motions as I blend it out. To go a little lighter with the color, because it seems to be more of like my actual skin tone. So I think what I'm going to do is add just a touch of the NARS Medium Dark 2 or Caramel, and I'm just going to add a little bit because this is a little lighter. Alright, so now it's time to set. I'm going to go back and use that same powder from earlier that I used to set the primer. I'm going to take this BH Cosmetics brush, add a little powder to it, and then lightly press that in. And I'm not going to bake because that's going to make the under eye look hella dry. And I'm just using that same technique that I used with my foundation brush and just kind of patting or stippling, I guess. Alright. And for everywhere else that I did not set, I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me Set and Smooth powder in 355 Coconut. And I'm going to take a Morphe E51 brush and just put that everywhere that I didn't set with that lighter powder. Alright, and so after that layer of powder, I'm going to go in and I'm going to spray my face with the facial spray from Mario Badescu. This is the Rose Water Spray. And this allows me to just add more powder as necessary because I'm not a cream product type of girl. unless it's foundation and concealer. I've tried it and it doesn't work for me. So this allows me to just pile on more powder as I see fit. And it also helps me create that kind of glowing effect to my skin with all the extra added powder. So next up comes, what is this stuff called? Bronzer, contour. So I'm going to take this brush. This is a Luxie 660 Precision Foundation brush. And I'm going to go into this color right here. The name is rubbed off, but this is the Ulta Contour Kit. And I'm going to start right about here and go in circular motions. Down to the sides. Down to the bottom. So the next thing I'm going to do is take my trusty e.l.f. Turks and Caicos bronzer, and I think this is supposed to be a blush. I don't know. I don't use that part. I just use the bronzer part. I'm going to take the same brush and go right kind of above those areas that I just went over with contour. Very, very lightly. Now, one of the tricks that I do whenever I'm adding powders to my face is I hold the brush from the very, very end, because that just helps me like not deposit so much product. Because if you go in and you are holding your brush right here, you're putting max pressure on your brush, and that's just going to deposit more of that pigment onto your skin. So it's better to start off with a light hand with light product amount on your brush and to build it up, rather than to go in heavy-handed and have to try to fix it, you know? So you might be wondering, why did you put a contour and a bronzer? Contour is going to help define the face, add some dimension and stuff like that, and then the bronzer is really going to bring back that color that you're missing. So if you were to go over your face with a powder, if I was to go over my face with this entire loose powder, it would take away all the dimension and the color, because your face is not just one color, and it'll have you looking flat. And so contour brings back that definition, bronzer just brings back that color to your skin. Hoo chow. Okay. So for blush today, what I'm really wanting to be extra glowy, extra, I don't know, want to look like, you know, my skin is just that great. Okay, so next up I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics, can I talk today? The BH Cosmetics Illuminate by Ashley Tisdale. This is their cream cheek and lip tint. This is one of the only cream products other than concealer and foundation that I like to use. Me and cream contour, we don't get along. But it's like a peachy tone, I guess. And so what I'm going to do is I spritzed the bottom of this beauty blender, and I'm just going to take that and just pounce it in there, get some color. I'm going to also pat that on the back of my hand just to get rid of a little bit of the pigment, because this is actually quite pigmented if you dip it enough. And so I'm just going to add that to my cheeks. Up and down pouncing motions, because I want to kind of blend the contour with the blush. Right, and so what I'm going to do next is take the Milani Coral Cove Powder Blush. And this is a little bit pinkier and lighter than the cream blush, but I want to use that to set the cream blush. And so I'm going to take my Wet n Wild blush brush, tap off the excess, and just barely graze over this. because I'm not really wanting to change the color or add the color. I'm just wanting to set. The next thing to do would be to add some highlights. So I think I'm going to mix two. I'm going to mix Crown of Canopy from Wet n Wild. This has more of a pinkish tone to it. And then I'm going to mix the Maybelline Master Chrome and Molten Gold. This is a little too, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just not, it doesn't do it for my skin. I feel like it just, I feel like for deeper skin tones, it's like perfect. But for like my skin tone, it's not my favorite gold on my skin tone. I think I'm going to try to use this brush. I usually use the Morphe Y14 brush, which I love because it's detailed and it just allows for precision. But I'm going to try to use this brush today. I got this in Ipsy also. I don't even know where this brush came from. It says SG62. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to take a little bit on here and then a little bit of the Molten Gold. Tap that off. And then, whoo, I'm scared. Okay. I also do this really light-handed, especially given the new brush that I'm using. Okay. Okay, and now I'm just going to use the Crown of my Canopy instead of mixing both of those. I'm going to take that and go a little bit on the tip of my nose, down the bridge, and then whatever's left I'm going to take and just go up and down kind of the middle of my brow. Put a little bit here on my lips and a little bit on my chin. Whew. Okay. And now I don't usually do this, but I just feel like I need to right now, is take a little bit of that loose powder from Maybelline. Whoa. And take that Fenty Beauty sponge, pack that on the back of my hand, and just add a little bit more underneath the eye. Just a little more illuminated and glowy than I would like it to be. A little on my chin, center of the forehead again. Alright, and then now I want to spray again. And that is just how I achieve this glowy skin. And the good thing about this is my skin stays, well, my foundation stays intact when I do this. Like, it does not move. Adding that highlight and then spraying with that Mario Badescu spray really melts in the highlight, and so the highlight adds to that glowiness. Like, it makes it seem as though my skin is just glowing like this. Alright, so I'm going to do my eyebrows and things like that off camera. If you want to see a brow tutorial, that's going to be on the way. I'm actually about to film that right now. So I'm going to go in depth with that video. So be on the lookout for that. But I just wanted to kind of give you all the lowdown on how I get my glow.